The year is 2023, and we have a sequel to Chicken Run. Is that not crazy or what? The first Chicken Run movie, one of my all-time favorites, and I had no idea that they were even capable of making a sequel to this movie, because if you look at this movie, what else can you do? You have the happy ending, it was a perfectly told story, what more can you do with it? And again, it's been 23 years, but now we have Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget. A great title, by the way. No Chicken Run 2 nonsense. I was intrigued. I was very curious. I'm like, how in the world can you make a sequel to Chicken Run? Well, I saw it. Is it worth a watch? Or does it suck? Hey guys, my name is Brandon, aka the BrandoCritic, and on this channel I just want to cut through all that toxic fandom and BS of gatekeeping and needless politics and just tell you guys, honestly, no angles, my honest opinion of the movie. And I also want you guys to let me know your honest opinion of the movie down below. I also want to give a giant thank you to our sponsor, Into the AM, which I'm actually wearing one of their shirts right now. I am 6'8" and 250 pounds. I am a big human being, and finding clothes that fit me is a challenge. Into the AM, it's not a challenge because all their clothes fit, they feel great, they're really, really soft and really, really comfortable, and they have a ton of great designs. If you're a guy out there looking for clothes, then Into the AM is linked in the description, and there is also a link there for 10% off. There's a discount code. Use it, you won't be disappointed. Now, let's start with the story of Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget. So if you remember in the first movie, minor spoiler, I guess this is just giving away the entire first movie, they escape the chicken farm and they're living on that little island. Rocky and Ginger and all the rats and all the other chickens, they're all living their happy ending, as they say in the movie. And there's a new little member of the family, Molly, and she's a bit of a troublemaker, and she sees that whole new world on the other side of the river. And she wants to go exploring, but she feels a little fenced in. You see the similarities here, you know what I mean? And Ginger is like, nope, you can't go over there, it's too dangerous. But then Molly learns about her dad's past, Rocky the Rooster, you know, the Lone Ranger, and she wants to be like her dad. She wants to go on an adventure, and oh, she does. But she gets into quite a lot of trouble. So Ginger and Rocky and all the other chickens have to save her from that trouble. So yeah, it's a bit of a different story. It kind of has that same theme of feeling fenced in and you want to get out, but this is more of a parenting angle of not wanting to smother your kid and being, you know, too overprotective, you know what I mean? But we'll get into the themes later. So what did I think of this movie? Well, I want to talk about two different outcomes that can happen from both sequels and animated films. And I've talked about this before on the channel, but I want to talk about it again here. With sequels, one of two things can happen. One, you basically get the same movie again. Same themes, same plot, same storyline at its core. New location, new characters, but generally speaking, from plot points, it's the same movie. Or, outcome number two, you get your characters and you go in a completely different direction. Sure, some of the same themes might be there, the same tone, right? Like it has to be somewhat similar to the first movie, but overall it feels brand new, it feels fresh. And as for animated movies, two things can happen. Number one is what I like to call the babysitter movie, meaning, you know, this movie's just pandering. It's just a bunch of bright colors to entertain your kids, so you don't have to parent them for 2 hours. Right? That's why I call it the babysitter movie. Or number two, and Pixar was really good at this, it was a movie for everyone. It was a movie that kids can enjoy, adults can enjoy. There's jokes, they're cleverly written, great characters, great story. It's a movie that the filmmakers wanted to tell because it's just a story that works for everyone. It's a family movie because the whole family can enjoy it, not just the kids where the adults or the babysitter wants to shoot themselves. So what does that mean for Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget? Well, in terms of sequels, this movie does go in a somewhat new direction. Yes, there's lots of similarities with callbacks, right? Like You Old Sausage and Are We Going on Holiday? You do hear those lines again. And there are very similar sequences with our chicken friends trying to escape the clutches of human beings, trying to turn them into food, except for this time it's not chicken pies, it's chicken nuggets, right? There's some funny jokes about sweet and sour sauce, like the new invention. It's sweet and sour. But overall, it went in a different direction. So think of like the first Chicken Run movie, this movie right here, as The Great Escape for kids. This movie is like Mission Impossible for kids. And so much so that the rats in this movie, those two characters, even make a joke about Mission Impossible in the movie. They flat out tell you what movie they're trying to make. So while the first one, they're trying to break out, in this movie, they're trying to break in to break out again. So again, there's some similarities, right? But overall, it felt like I was watching a brand new Chicken Run adventure, which was great. And as for the family angle, this movie does not feel pandering. I felt like all the writers in this movie felt like they were writing really quality jokes. Cute, clever, funny lines, and the message of the movie is clear. The heart is in the right spot. It's not dripping with cynicism. Themes of discovery and adventure and parenting, of course. I feel like the main lesson in this movie is actually for parents. And we've seen this message before about being, too overbearing and too overprotective, right? Like, it's not reinventing the wheel here, but these messages are good messages and they tell them well here. And we like the characters and we want them to succeed on this journey. Now, I do have some issues with the movie. And again, no movie is perfect, but these are three main, kind of sore spots on the movie. And I think that if this movie were able to smooth them out, I think you'd have a really amazing movie on our hands. Number one is that they bring back a certain element of the first movie that they really didn't need to bring back. Now, when I was watching the movie and this certain thing came on screen, I said to myself, oh, like I was thinking this can't be the same thing, but it is the same thing. And I'm like, oh, we're doing this again. Okay. I mean, without giving it away, this movie pulls a Rise of Skywalker. And we all know how that movie turned out. The second one is that the first movie, Chicken Run, it felt like it was taking place in the real world. Whereas this movie, it did dabble into the absurdist and non-realistic territory, where it felt like these two films were not actually taking place in the same universe. And that was also a bit of a jarring juxtaposition there. And again, watching it for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you were able to accept it, but then you're like, but wait a minute, this is not really the same tone as the first movie. Now, again, I don't want to give anything away, but this is the best analogy I can think of. So yes, you say, oh, well, it's not realistic. It's claymation chickens talking. Yeah, I get that. But even in Toy Story, the toys talk and they come to life. But even that movie, I feel like it could take place in just the real world. But imagine Andy and his mom and his sister and Buster, I think is the dog, right? They're living in the Buzz Lightyear world with Zurg and everybody else. Like with Star Command. That's like the play world. But now that's become the real world where our real characters are living in. It's kind of blending the two worlds together and it just feels off. Again, you go 15 minutes into the movie or into that section of the movie and you're like, I'll just accept it. I'll just see it as if it's in a vacuum. But when comparing the two movies, that's when you have a little bit of a problem. And I'm going like, this just doesn't feel right. And that gets me into my third problem. The characters' voices are not the same. Now, like I said, on its own, totally fine. But the first movie does exist. Now, the one caveat being, hey, Brandon, you can recast characters all the time. Look at James Bond, right? Yeah, of course. James Bond has been played by multiple different actors. And, you even have voice actors being played by different people. Of course, you have, all the Batmans, right? Just as an example, right? With live action and different cartoon voices. But my problem is that it feels different from the original because they look exactly the same. There's no character design change. Just the voices are different. Now, if you were to do this movie in 2D animation or as a completely different animation style and you had a different voice, I'm like, okay, this is like a new telling of Chicken Run. But this is the exact same claymation style, which is great. And if you had to choose one, I would choose the animation. So Ginger's voice, totally fine. Sounds different, whatever, right? Zachary Levi as Rocky the Rooster. That one it took me a while to really get into that because I loved Mel Gibson as Rocky the Rooster in the first movie. And again, I don't want to be that person going like, it's not like the original, bro. It's not like the original. I get it. But I gotta admit though that his character completely changes. Not just the voice, but his mannerisms, his tone, and his actions. It does not dictate the Rocky the Rooster from the first movie. Now, yes, Mel Gibson's original Rocky the Rooster, he did have a change of heart by the end of that movie. He changed his character. But I don't think that this is the version of him that we all think we would have been able to see at this point in time. He is completely changed to this, Lone Ranger, this confident, cocky guy, you know what I mean? Pun intended, right? To this, kind of doofus who is being more of a passive character. But it does feel weird, though, that they put him to be the back seat in terms of his dominance in the role. So it did feel a little strange how his character changed, not just his voice. But even for those issues, putting them aside, you're making a movie sequel to a movie that came out 23 years ago. You have different voices. Sure. You're going for more of the absurd angle. Sure, why not? And you're gonna bring back a certain element from the first movie. Fine. Overall, though, I thought this movie was fun. it was clever, it was heartfelt, and, you know, it left me smiling. And when that score comes back, man, that is a very underrated score. Seriously, listen to it on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever you listen to movie scores on. It's a great soundtrack. And what's great about this movie is that it actually has room for more sequels, and I could actually see a more clear vision for sequels in this movie. So if they make a Chicken Run 3, you know what? I'm on board. Now, just before I give my rating, I want to tell you guys this. I have said this in many movies that were like disappointing, where I say the whole is less than the sum of its parts. Meaning, you know, you go through the film school report card, A+ is cinematography, A+ for acting, A+ for directing, and you can go through it and you basically give a great score for every single aspect of the filmmaking process. But the overall movie is just kind of like, meh, C+, right? It doesn't really mesh well together. This movie is actually the opposite. Go through the filmmaking report card. Directing, writing, cinematography, animation. Okay, well, animation is an A+. But voice acting and everything else, it's good. But this movie, I'm going to say it's great. All good elements lead to an even better result. I'm giving Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget a 4 out of 5. And guys, I'm so happy to say that, honestly. And like, I'll be honest, am I giving this movie a higher rating because I just love the first one so much and it was just really great to see a Chicken Run sequel? Maybe. But I will be honest, I've seen it about 3 days ago now, and I've been thinking about it every single day since. And I've given out movies, when I first started reviewing movies, a 5 out of 5, and I forgot about it the next day, right? I don't do that anymore, or at least I don't try to anyway, right? Like, I try to give the movie some time and space to really sink in. And it's been a few days. And I honestly have been thinking about Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget for a few days now. I'm like, you know what? That was a good part of the movie. I like that part of the movie too. That was fun. That was funny. That was clever. That was heartfelt. That was warm. That was fuzzy. That was cozy. You know, all the wonderful words to use for a movie that makes you smile. Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget is a great movie, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So there you have it, guys. Hit like and subscribe if you guys are new here and you want to see more videos just like this. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to all my Patreon members. If you want to join, link is down below. Monthly movie nights, contests, and seeing content early. I'd say it's a pretty good deal. So I'll see you guys there, and I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy. Bye now.